Hour, call this meeting to order. First order of business is the approval of the July 25th, 2022 minutes. Moved by Brian, second by Mr. Rand. Any questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Ayes have it. Next is reports. If there's no questions, we'll move to receive and file those. Seeing no questions, go into the cases. So we have zoning case ZBA 2022-0040, petition of EDPRNA DG Illinois Development LLC. Is there a motion to put this on the floor? Dr. Blair, Mr. Elsasser. Andrew?
Thank you. This is a special use request from EDPRNA DG Illinois Development LLC for the approval of a 4.95 megawatt solar energy generation facility. This is in an A2 zoning district. The proposed solar farm would cover approximately 35 acres of a 78.37 acre parcel. The parcel is located along East Rome West Road in the southeast quarter of Section 2 of Medina Township. There are 0 consents and 0 objections on file. Surrounding parcels are zoned A2 agriculture with the exception of a strip of R1 residential to the northwest of the parcel. The nearest dwelling is approximately 260 feet from the solar panels, which exceeds the 75-foot setback regulation of the ordinance. The nearest inverters would be located at least 150 feet from the property line. The system would operate at a maximum level of 69 decibels, which is quieter than the average car at highway speed. The likely point of interconnection would be Ameren's Halleck substation, which is approximately 2.8 miles to the northeast. A LISA was conducted on the property, and the site scored a low rating for agricultural protection. County Highway had no objections, but commented that representatives would need to meet with the Highway Department staff for access permits and road use agreements. The site does have additional frontage along Wayne Road, which is maintained by the Medina Township Road District. They had no objections. However, they did comment they would prefer Wayne Road was not used for construction, access, or material delivery. The Health Department commented that no conditions were found which would cause the department to recommend denial. Medina Township Planning Commission met on this case and recommended approval. In 2018, a 4 megawatt solar energy generation facility was approved for development at this site. Typically, the special use approval process would have been transferable to the new developer, but in this case, due to the increase in size to 4.95 megawatts, a new special use was required. Staff recommended approval with 7 restrictions. The zoning board voted 5-0 to recommend approval with the same 7 restrictions. There is a representative from the EDPRNA DG Illinois Development Group here, should you have any questions that I can't answer.
Any questions for Brian?
Well, my first question was just answered because I said, didn't we approve something in this area just a few years ago? And so that was the exact same project. Is this one of those that will be in the hopper then in the state of Illinois and may or may not be approved, or is this a big enough one that it automatically goes through? I mean, it's none of my business. I'm still going to support it, but I just.
So the representative, but what I do know is November 1st, recs are required. So there's all sorts of different programs they can enter. Community driven, community solar. This one probably being up to about the 5 megawatts is probably in a different bucket. The waitlisted projects, some of these that were waitlisted are going to move ahead in being to be built. Some of these other ones, there's different programs they can enter in, but more than likely it will be built. So
Okay.
That's the best. There's all sorts of different, it depends. Am I right on for the most part?
So the community projects, it seems like, are being approved pretty quickly. Is it?
So there was a lottery and there was so many that were picked, and then if a developer had it, they basically, for every 1 out of 8 in the our market, the Ameren territory, they were allowed to pick one. So some of those projects went through. And then if you were in the Exelon market, I think it was 1 out of 4 you were allowed to pick. So they could pick up any one of those projects that was on those basically 2 megawatt type projects. But then the way the recs are working, most of those projects, even if you were waitlisted, are probably going to go through at some point. But they did change it where you could see the 2 megawatt project. Now they're allowed to combine those projects. So
Okay,
there's all sorts of different rules that have constantly changed from FEJA to CEJA, but
okay,
the odds of this project going through are probably pretty high at this
Okay.
point, I would assume.
thank you.
Anything else to add or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it. Next up is ZBA case 2022-0042, petition of Lisa Rogers. Is there a motion to put this on the floor? Mr. Watkins, Ms. Williams. Andrew?
Thank you. This is a special use request from Lisa Rogers to allow for overnight accommodations at her property. The petitioner proposes to offer a 5-bedroom, single-family dwelling and 2 adjacent lots for rent on a short-term basis. The property is zoned R2. This is the petitioner's full-time residence, and she intends to continue living at the property when it is not being rented. She testified at the Zoning Board of Appeals. She owns another property in Chillicothe, so when she is not at this particular site, she would be approximately 8 minutes away. There would be a maximum of 8 guests for periods of no more than 14 days, although she testified that weekend stays would be far more likely than an extended stay. The house is equipped with a Ring doorbell and security camera, and the petitioner stated that there would be no parties allowed. The parcel is located along North River Beach Drive in Medina Township. There are 0 consents and 0 objections on file. There were a number of neighbors present at the hearing on behalf of the petitioner, however, none of them spoke. The health department commented that no conditions were found that would cause the department to recommend denial. The county highway department commented they would defer to the Medina Township Road Commissioner. Medina Township Planning Commission met and recommended approval. Staff recommended approval with 7 restrictions, and the Zoning Board of Appeals recommended approval with the same 7 restrictions by a vote of 5-0.
Questions for Andrew? Brian?
It's the first time I've seen the word parties in one of these, or they've been in some of the other ones before. I mean, parties can be referred to what type of party or how many people, I guess. So I thought that was just kind of interesting because she just made that statement. There's nothing in the restrictions in that regard.
Well, I believe one of the Airbnb or VRBO, they changed their policy too, that is no longer allowed for the people to throw, not considered family gatherings as what I would consider a party, but actually parties.
Right. Okay. That's good. That's a good thing, I think.
Any other questions for Andrew? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it. Next up is ZBA case 2022-0044, petition of Ryan R. McIntyre. Is there a motion to put this on the floor? Ms. Williams, Ms. Blair.
All right, this is a special use request from Ryan McIntyre to allow for a mobile home in the A2 Agriculture Zoning District. All towing apparatus, wheels, tongue, and hitch would be permanently removed, and the structure would be attached to a permanent foundation and assessed as real property. The property is located on North McIntyre Road. The petitioner owns this 2.17 acre parcel, as well as the surrounding ag land to the south and east. The petitioner testified that in 2018 he knocked down the house that was on the property, and that the mobile home will be sited on that same building footprint. He intends to install a new well and septic to serve the mobile home. There were 0 consents and 0 objections. The health department commented that no conditions were found that would cause the department to recommend denial, and the county highway department commented that they would defer to the Rosefield Township Road Commissioner. Staff recommended approval with 5 restrictions, and the Zoning Board of Appeals recommended approval with those same 5 restrictions by a vote of 5-0.
Any questions for Brian?
Does anyone know who the road commissioner is out there in Rosefield, or is he capable, or? I just had to joke a little bit, Matt. So.
Seeing no comments, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it. Resolution, Chillicothe Township property transfer. Is there a motion? Mr. Windish, Ms. Blair? Andrew.
Thank you. Through the use of federal and state hazard mitigation grant program funding, Peoria County has acquired a series of flood-prone properties in unincorporated Peoria County along the Illinois River. These properties have had any and all structures demolished and currently sit as vacant tax-exempt properties. Under the terms of the grant agreement, Peoria County as the owner is responsible for annual maintenance and upkeep. Chillicothe Township has approached the Department of Planning and Zoning regarding the transfer of ownership for a property on North River Lane. It is the intent of the township to assume ownership of this parcel to form a contiguous boundary with an existing township right-of-way, which is a 40-foot undeveloped extension of East Beach Drive. One of the conditions for the transfer was that Peoria County obtain the approval of the Illinois Emergency Management Agency and the Federal Emergency Management Agency. We did so on May 11th of 22. And the property transferred to Chillicothe Township shall be subject to the same reservations and covenants that the county had, which are outlined within the quitclaim deed and shall run with the land.
Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it. Next is the Chillicothe Park District property transfer. Motion by Brian, second by Ms. Williams. Andrew?
This is another property that was acquired under the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. This particular property is located at 14449 North River Beach Drive. It used to be an 8-unit apartment building. Chillicothe Park District has approached Planning and Zoning about assuming ownership of this parcel. They like to extend the boundaries of what's referred to as Walnut Dog Park on North River Beach Drive. It will have the same conditions attached to it that are outlined in the quitclaim deed.
Questions for Andrew? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it. Discussion for the mitigation plan. This is just a discussion, so Andrew?
Thank you. So in 2023, we'll be kicking off the Tri-County Hazard Mitigation Plan through the coordination efforts of the Tri-County Regional Planning Commission. Currently, there are at least 23 local jurisdictions throughout the region that will participate in this plan. Rima, Abby Eckhar from Tri-County Regional Planning Commission will serve as the project coordinator, and she's here today to give you a brief introduction to that project.
All right, hello everyone. Like Andrew said, my name is Rima from the Tri-County Regional Planning Commission. So I'm just going to talk about what a hazard mitigation plan is and what it really means to be a part of it. A hazard mitigation plan is a document that outlines the various hazards in the area, tornadoes, heat, cold, things like that. And it poses all of the risk assessments and based on infrastructure and geography within each region. So really, throughout the state, you'll see these plans, and they're all slightly different because of what each county has in terms of infrastructure and geography. And the reason to be part of such a plan is any jurisdiction that's involved in this is then eligible to apply for certain grants through FEMA, and these are mitigation grants. So one example is BRIC. It's Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities. So these can help carry out the projects that are outlined in the plan. And I brought actually the last plan, which is massive, but I just wanted to show it as a prop. So there are a lot of analyses that go into it. There's a lot of data. And so in terms of the process, we submitted a pre-application at the end of last year, and then an application to FEMA and IEMA to receive the funding to perform this, and we received these funds. We received $124,857 for the whole region. Like Andrew said, we'll have 23 participating jurisdictions. We might even add more. This is it's optional, but like I said, it makes you eligible for different monies moving forward. Let's see. So last time we did this, Peoria County was separate, but we've lumped them in just like some other jurisdictions are joining for the first time. And it's easier from administrative standpoint because then we get a consultant and they are able to do more work with the same grant essentially. So we put out an RFQ and we had a committee vetted by the emergency management personnel of all the counties, and they selected a consultant. It's a duo, American Environmental, that's who Tri-County went through last time, and this was from 2019, as well as Wood, and that's who Peoria County went through last time as well. So there's some history there. It'll make it more effective. Last thing is two more things. So this time, since Peoria County, their previous plan was also pretty substantial, we're going to break it into two plan documents. So Peoria County will have their own plan, and Tazewell and Woodford will have their own plan, again, administered under the same umbrella. And finally, there is a local match requirement of almost $19,000, and this we are confident that we will get through in-kind participation. So people who attend the meetings, that their time will be counted to this local in-kind match. So there's a whole lot of details there, but I'm happy to answer questions if you have them.
Well, thank you for the presentation. Questions? Brian?
I thought maybe she had the Bible there. I mean, that's quite a compilation of
It really
material. Anyway, the 19,000 that will be divided then amongst all the counties and municipalities.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, thank you for your time today and the presentation. Much appreciated. Anything else for miscellaneous for the good of the order? Seeing none. Meeting adjourned, and we'll take about a 10-minute break and we'll start Rules Committee.